Okay, this is a quick little video tutorial about how to use this code, this script, in your Unity project so that you can fly around in VR. This is my favorite flying mechanic in VR, and it's based off of the awesome work done by this developer, Ancient Sea. This is on the Unity Asset Store. It was originally created for the HTC Vive controller, but I've modified it to work with the Oculus touch controllers. And I should definitely tell you about Kevin Mack. So Kevin Mack worked with this developer to kind of come up with the concept of how this flight mechanism works here. And Kevin used it in his really cool VR art piece, Blortasia. So definitely check that out if you haven't checked it out yet. But this is where I first discovered this flight mechanism. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is so cool. And Kevin said, well, you know, it's actually available in the Unity store. And I was like, no way. So it's kind of funny because this script is kind of the whole reason that I use Unity, because I really love this flying mechanic so much. That's the whole reason I use Unity. If somebody had built this in Unreal, I'd be using Unreal probably. But anyway, and there's lots of, people have been over the years updating it, changing the script. So I'm going to add my script in here too, because that's just the right thing to do. Somebody updated it here to work with Steam VR 2.0 plugin, because they changed a bunch of stuff that you had to rechange your script there. But don't worry about all that. That's just kind of the background of it here. But you want to know how to use it for your Oculus Rift, and it actually works on the Quest. So I'm happy to report it actually works on the Quest, because that was kind of the whole reason I was trying to get this to work, because I wanted to make some stuff for the Quest. And so anyway, yeah, let's look at how it actually works. How do you connect it up? So I'm just going to do that there. So over here in Unity, you're going to start a new project. Or if you have a project and, well, I'd say to learn it, start with a new project, get used to how to rig it up, and then you'll be able to add it to your projects. But the main thing we need to import into your new project is in the Asset Store. You're going to want to find the Oculus integration. So if you search for that, just type in Oculus integration. And what this does is it brings in like models and animations and some prefabs and stuff that we're going to use for this. So it's a good thing. So you need to bring that in. So import that in. The other thing is you want to make sure that your scene is actually set up for VR, that you can actually experience it in VR. So up here under File, Build Settings, under Player Settings, I'm going to scroll down here to Virtual Reality SDKs. Under the XR Settings. I should show you where this is, because it's something you have to expand here. You just want to do this little tick box here, virtual reality supported. Just check on that. And I don't know, somebody told me one time that the Oculus SDK has to be the first one listed. I don't know if that's true or not. I've just always kind of felt, all right, sure, why not? But you can move these around if you want. Since we are working in Oculus, we're just going to list it first. That's what somebody told me to do, so I'm going to do it. Why would I argue with that? All right. Anyway, that's about all you need to do there. Yeah. Okay. So let's go over to our scene. So we've downloaded the Oculus. What did we call it? Can't remember what this thing's called. Integration. Okay. So we've downloaded that into our project here. So let's go here. Let's go over here to Assets. We're going to expand that a little bit. I created a new folder here called My Scripts. And this is where I imported the script. So make sure you make a little folder to import your scripts. And this is where you want to put this script in here. How do you do that? Is you just right click down here, say import new asset, and then scroll to wherever you have it. I happen to have it right here. So then you'd say import, and it would come in. And it's a beautiful thing. All right. Then I made a new scene. just set it up blank like this so we can build in here so you can see what we're going to do. All right. Under Oculus, now it's time to basically add our camera rig to the scene. Okay, so click on Oculus over here. Scroll down to, let's see, we'll close all that. We're going to come back down there to that in a minute. All right, so VR, go down to VR. So Oculus, VR, and then inside VR, go to prefabs. And the thing we're looking for here is called the OVR camera prefab asset. I guess I should move this out here a little bit so you can actually read it. And what we're going to do is we're going to just click on this and drag it up into our hierarchy. Okay, so now it's in our scene. And so that means we can get rid of this main camera. We can just delete that. We don't need that because this camera rig actually has a camera on it. Imagine that. Okay, the other thing we got to do here, we are going to add to, let me close this down. We don't really need to have all this stuff open right now. That's just clutter. So we're going to add a new component to this. So click on Add Component, and we're going to type in Rigid Body. So how you find that is you can just start typing R-I, oops, not Z-R-I. Okay, R-I, so Rigid Body, that's what we want. So basically what this is going to do is add, allow us to apply a physics force to this body, this rigid body, and that's going to be what allows us to fly and move around. Okay, so a couple of the settings that I use are, let's see, so over here under mass we just leave it as 1. You can play around with this stuff. You can get all sorts of crazy stuff going on with this. So mass is 1. What do we say here for the drag is 0.5 according to my notes here. And then the angular drag is 0.3. I think these are the default numbers that came with that original script, and they've always seemed to work for me, so I've just kind of left them there. I'm going to untick the gravity because otherwise we just like keep falling. But gravity is really fun with the flight navigation. If you think of it like a little jetpack, so you're going to point in the direction you want to go, and you can fly in that direction. And then if you release the trigger buttons, which is how we propel ourselves. If you release the trigger buttons, you would then start to fall, and it's kind of fun because then you click the triggers again, you can zoom up, and you can kind of drop and zoom around. So yeah, gravity is really cool. We don't need it for right now for this example, so we won't worry about it. All right, so we're going to expand the OVR camera rig, and then we're going to go into tracking space. So we're going to expand that down here. I'll just show you real quick in here under the center eye anchor. This is where you could change the look of your camera and whatnot. There's camera settings in here. Let's say you wanted a solid color in your scene, and you wanted to change it to something, really fun or terrible. Maybe you wanted to do something really terrible, do that. Or I don't know. Maybe that's a beautiful thing. Maybe that's exactly what you want. Or I always go with black because I just like the dark void of space. But anyway, for this example, we don't really need to change the color or anything. We'll just go with the standard skybox because it'll be a little easier to tell when we're flying around. Yeah, and these are default settings that they have. I kind of change this stuff around. You don't really have to do this. This is a little bit kind of behind the scenes of what I do. And then I do, so for the clipping plane, I make it really close because I see things up close. And then I usually do something crazy like this for the far distance. I'm sure there's people out there going, oh God, this guy does not know what he's doing. What the hell is he doing? So, well, this is how I do it. It may not be the most efficient way or optimized way of doing things, but I like to see far off into the distance. And I know that can cause some artifacts and things, but for my work, that's been what has worked for me. Also, the field of view. This you can play around with, kind of some crazy things in here. I've seen this mostly always set at 60. So I'm just going to set it at 60. I don't know why it was 90. There might be a reason for that. I don't know. I don't know these things. Okay. Anyway, All right, that's just kind of things you can play around with the camera. It's listed under the center eye anchor. All right, the next thing we're going to do is for the left hand anchor and the right hand anchor, we're actually going to add a model of the controller to it. So we can actually see the controllers in VR. So you might be thinking, well, Scobot, what's this controller thing I see right down here? Why can't we just use that? Well, I don't know. I don't know what that thing is. That's not a thing I use, so I don't know what that is. So go over here to back to your Oculus. Okay, over here in the project folder. Watch the mouse down here. The project pane, I guess, is a project tab. And then this is kind of weird. I don't know how I found this, but under Oculus and under Sample Framework, click on that. We can expand that. And then under Core, okay, sure, wouldn't you know this? You'd know this. And under Touch Controllers, click on Touch Controllers. There's actually different controllers in here. So there's ones for the Quest and whatnot. I think they're listed somewhere else. But for right now, we're just going to use these for the touch controllers, okay? So let's just stay on mission, stay focused. So down here, we've got a left controller. You can kind of see what it looks like, this nice model. And then there's a right controller, so we're going to use these. And within these is also like an animation. So when you click the buttons and stuff, it actually can see them move and stuff. And we will access that later in a minute. But for right now, we're going to grab our left controller and we're going to drag it on top of our left hand anchor. I'm just going to drag it on there, and we're going to grab our right controller and we're going to drop it on top of the right anchor. Okay, so once again, that was in Sample Framework. Now I can't even remember what it was. Core, yeah, thank you, Core, and then it was under Touch Controllers. Okay, and it was just right here, those guys. So yeah, so now we've got those loaded in. I'm going to add our script now, okay? So let's go up here to the left-hand anchor, and we are going to go, let me go down here to the My Scripts, and wherever you have this flight navigation script, go ahead and grab that. I'm going to drag it on top. We just drag it right on top of the left-hand anchor, okay? It probably doesn't really matter where that script is loaded. You could probably drop it onto one of these other things. I just use it at the top here so I can kind of find it. So yeah. All right. So how do we? So this is the gist of the whole video right here. You can skip all that other stuff and come to this part. All right. So the first thing we want to do is under the controller section here. Click this little drop down, and this is the left touch because it's on the left hand anchor. Okay, and then we got a spot for an animator. You don't have to put anything here if you don't want to. You don't have to have an animated controller, but that animation is inside this left controller prefab. Okay, so we do a little drop down here, and it is this thing you can't really see because I've kind of hidden it off here to the side here. Where it says left touch control model scale. Okay, that's got the animation in it. So we're going to click on that and we're going to drag it over here to the animator part. Okay, and then the navigation base is looking for a rigid body. Okay, a component that has a rigid body on there. Well, we added a rigid body onto our OVR camera rig, so just drag that in there. Bink. All right, we're almost there. We're almost flying in VR. All right, so then we need the thrust direction. And I've found that 12 seems to work really good for the touch controllers. You can play around with that, but if you're getting something weird and you're like, I'm pointing forward, but yet I'm flying sideways, this is probably where you would correct that. So 12 seemed to be in line with kind of like I'm pointing in that direction, and I seem to be moving in that general direction. So I set that for 12 for now. And then the thrust force, you can get crazy with this. We're just going to keep it real simple. We're just going to go with 1. You could do like 10 or look at all those numbers you could put in there. You'd be going so fast. So anyway, 1 seems to be fine for now. For most of my pieces, you know, I like it really nice and slow and dreamy, and you just kind of fly around. But you can make, you know, there's times where it's like fun to fly really fast. So anyway, that's where you change that, the thrust force. Okay, I'm gonna untick this show trust mockup because we don't need that right now. That's a something that's kind of left over in the script here. Like I said, I kind of hacked this together from different things, and there's probably stuff in here I don't really need, but I don't really know to get rid of it. So I'm just I'm always super timid about changing scripts and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, it's working. There might be things in here we don't need. But the show trust mockup, as you see right there, basically what that is when you would click on the trigger, it would show a little cone or whatever the mesh object was that you decided to use as the thrust kind of mockup indicator would show up. And then when you release the trigger, it would disappear. So it's kind of a neat functionality to have in there because you might want to load something else for whatever you want. So I just kind of leave it in there. You know, it doesn't hurt anything. We just uncheck it. And if we had you can see here the mock-up, if we had a game object or something, we would drag that in there, and that's what would show up. So that's a little more stuff you don't really need to know about right now because we're just focusing on flying around. So we're going to go over here to the right anchor, and we're going to do the same thing. All right. So we are going to drag our script onto there. We're going to set the controller to be right touch. We're going to look for this animator. We know it's inside of this right control prefab. So let's drag that over. And we know that the rigid body is going to be the OVR rig. Okay. And then we set that for 12 because, you know, let's keep them consistent. And we're going to say force is 1, and we're going to uncheck that. So remember to save. File, save. Okay. So yeah, we pretty much are ready to go right now. But let's put some things into the scene because we won't really be able to tell what's going on unless we have something to relate to. So let's put in a cube, and I don't know where to put it here. Let's see, maybe we'll put it out here. I don't know. Let's make it a little bigger. Let's just scale it up to be 10 by 10. Okay, yeah, a big wall. That would be fun to fly over. All right. Let's do, how about a sphere? Okay, where's the sphere? We'll just put them out here. And these will just be some things that we'll look for when we're flying around here. Oh, and that's going to be probably behind us. Let me go out here. Yeah, let's just scale that up to be 10 by 10. Look, there it is. It's right there. Okay, I'm going to put it out there. Let's grab this cube. I think I kind of want to put this someplace else. Lots of things to... Hey, flying around things is fun. And I'm just going to go ahead and make it a square. You know, this is where you can do whatever you want here, okay? All right, so we got two things to kind of fly around and look at. I'm going to get file save. All right, now, just in case that Unity cuts out my microphone, I may have to pause and come back, so don't worry, but I'm going to grab this. Sometimes, yeah, I don't know what happens with Unity. It like hijacks my microphone when I'm doing these videos. Super annoying. So anyway, here we go. We're going to proceed as if it's actually going to work. And we're going to hit play here. I have to take off my glasses. I kind of have to put on the headset here, so let's hit play. And we should be able to see here pretty soon if we've actually got something working. Okay, maybe. There we go. There we go. Here, let's move this. I'm going to move this out here so you can actually see me flying around in VR there. So on goes the headset. And, oh yeah, great. I get the Oculus home screen. Thanks. I don't need that. Okay, so let's do it again. I don't know why that had to be on there. All right, let's try it again. Since I don't know how to get rid of the stupid Oculus home screen. Okay. Let me find my controllers here. Ugh, they're on the floor. Okay, so here they are. See, nice. I'm going to try and keep them in the middle here. Nice model. You can see, oh, look at that animation. Oh my gosh, what's going on? We're moving. Look, we're flying around here. So this script has a really nice feel to it when you release the triggers. It's got this kind of slow wind down sort of thing to it, and it's just really nice. It's like being on a magic carpet. You're always level. There's nothing, like flying in a plane and it's turning like this or something. And I think that's what makes a lot of people sick in VR is when you're being forced to turn your head a certain way. This is really nice because it's all based off of you turning your head. So you kind of move like a on a magic carpet, nice and smooth and level the whole time. And if you're sitting in a swivel chair, it's really fun because you can just kind of push with your feet and slide around. And on the Quest, it'll be really great because you won't have a cable getting wrapped all around the base of your chair. But anyway, yeah, this is pretty much basically it. A super cool script. I think everybody should use this because it's the best way to move around. I personally, in my humble opinion, feel it's the best way to move around inside of VR. I personally am not a big fan of teleportation. That's just I don't know. I think it's a really clunky mechanic of moving around, and this was just so elegant and so nicely written. It's just like I said, this is the whole reason I'm using Unity. Someday, maybe I'll work and try and figure out how to make it work in Unreal, since it is all just math. But I don't know. I don't know how to do that. Maybe somebody will do that. Anyway, that's it. So yeah, that's all there is to it. This video. I hope I didn't make things super complicated or confusing for you. And yeah, so let me just take off my headset because I got to exit the recording here. So I'm going to stop that. I'm probably going to lose my microphone at any second now. I don't know. Anyway, enjoy. Go make cool stuff. Bring your tilt brush files into Unity, scale them up super huge, and then fly around inside of them. It's awesome. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.